manager, it has freedom to just quickly call upon the coordinator of his area. We have our divisional officers or the CCTV, at the same time, even when these students are enlightened, they are educated, it can also help in saying something strange. They notice strange persons, they notice strange movement. Their attention is very, very important.
Still on one flight, 23 minutes past 8, and our guest is still Deputy Commandant Amos Joey Ajayi, HOD Training, NSCDC, Ogun State Command. Okay, when you talked about safe school projects, you talked about kinetic and non-kinetic approach. So your officers at a certain distance to the school, are we expecting that you say that your officers, you know, at a certain distance to the school, or you don't want to disclose that on air? If you don't want them around the school, why is this not so?
Thank you very much. I mentioned kinetic and personnel to respond to such. But much broke it down in the sense that agency. We also have other means of getting our information. Our officers are spread out. Like when you are talking about the school projects now, we have identified the schools, the public schools in Ogun State. We know their location, we know where they are. And at the same time happens there, a call will come across to us at the state level, at the divisional level, at the outpost level to respond to such. So we are saying we are not physically present, but we are very close to those schools.
Okay, Commander Ajayi. Now, some people have been calling for
Commander
to go a long way in curbing kidnapping, not only in our schools, but also in our various communities. How can you address this?
Thank you very much. Like I've said it, the first thing is for us to go from a point of security awareness to security consciousness. What do I mean by this? When we are talking about security awareness, let's go a very simple way. All of us know about fire extinguisher. We have identified it. That is awareness. How do you use it in case of fire? That is consciousness. What we are saying now is that we want to bring security education close to the people. In as much as you are security educated, you are no longer an illiterate when it comes to issue of security. Simple personal protection gadgets will be introduced. How do you protect yourself? What are the conducts that you carry out so that you are not exposing yourself, to kidnappers or other nefarious, or activities? We have this in plans, and we are encouraging the public, the government to support us so that this can be brought to clear and everybody can have security education. In terms of the community policing that you are saying, it's not much that everybody is aware about himself and everybody is aware about simple techniques, simple way to yourself, and at the same time, how do you duly report suspected movements, suspicious threats, or whatever? How do you duly report? Assist yourself pending the time that the security agency that is closest to you will arrive at the scene. Thank you.
Okay, much have been said already. Let's open the lines 0803 437 9453 and 0815 032 0226. Okay, before this call start coming in, when it comes to school pickups after the close of school, what measures can be put in place at this moment between school authorities and parents, most especially for the children still in nursery and probably primary schools?
Thank you very much. In school pickup after the schools, we encourage parents identify the person that is responsible for picking your child or your word, and make sure that such a person is registered. The biometric of that person is taken in terms of face identification, fingerprints, in case anything happens. And if another person peradventure comes to pick such a child, the school authority should be aware and clarification should be sought from such a parent or guardian. Thank you very much.
Okay, 0803-437-9453 and 0815-032-0226. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. What's the name? Olali Konshotunde. Please go ahead with your question. Okay. 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 Thank you, Mr. Olali Consciously. Now, before you react to that, let's go on this break. To what Mr. Shotunde said.
Well, from what Mr. Shotunde said, you can see that even the community, they are security conscious and they are willing to learn. So we are only advocating that through the CDAs, through the CDCs, ADA, and CDA, they should mark a provision whereby we can actually have encounter with them so that we can give security education. So that, like I said, we are raising people from point of awareness to point of consciousness. When everybody is conscious about security, you will discover that we are going to be very vigilant of our environment. Just like one adage says, train well in peacetime so that you don't bleed when it is wartime. Thank you.
Hello.
Okay, we have Edas member on the line. Hello. Good morning,
Good morning,
sir.
sir.
Good morning.
awareness. But mere awareness may not be enough. What can we do to increase the capacity of the community to tackle or to respond to things that attacks when people come? What can we do? Those are my two questions. Is it
All right.
just wait for a hand and begin to cry and lament? I ask about what about the shadow.
Thank you, Elder Semibanwo. Thank you. Your reaction.
Thank you very much. Like I have said it, or we should make sure that we have layers of responses. Look at what happened at Chibok. We wouldn't have claimed ignorance of some people to have seen this movement. But what do they do? Because the security education is lacking, they are perplexed. When we are talking about levels of responsibility, it is high time that we as community, we are very much at vigilance. That is, observe everything that goes on in your community, observe who goes in and who goes out. And if you notice anything that is abnormal, for example, we have the PCRC, it's meant for relating with the police. But at the same time, if you see the levels of security now, you can see that even we at NSCDC, grassroots organization, we are very, very close to you. If you check even from where you are talking from, you will discover very close to you there is an officer or a man or man of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps living very close to you. So we can increase our level of interaction with the community. We have the PCRC, we can also have the same thing with the civil defense, and even levels of we have our volunteers all over scattered that you can easily contact, but we are going to increase level of awareness for the community. Then secondly, in terms of what can the community do, like I said it earlier, we need to give the CDAs security education. By the time we give you such security education, it's going to be very, very useful for you to know how to curb such incidences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that response. And now there's another question. For those in secondary schools, especially those in the senior secondary schools, they are not in school. There's an assumption that they are absent for one reason or the other. What do you think should be the attitude of the school authority in such situation, in such assumption right at this age of the students?
Thank you very much. If you look at this, our students, you discover that as they are growing, characters are changing. They tend to become people, something in the house, another thing else when they get to school. It's my belief that the school authority should have a way of making sure that they keep proper record. A child should be in school by 7:40, latest by 8. Such a child is not seen. The class teacher should report to the principal, and at the same time the school, probably through the PTA, they should have a forum whereby those students that are absent within before the close of that day, they should be reached. The parents' contact should be kept in school and they should be contacted immediately. As at 8:45, your ward, your child, daughter or son has not been seen in school, hope no problem. If such a child is still in proper control and custody of the parent will be able to answer. He couldn't make it today because it was a little bit down. He couldn't make it today because we had to go to somewhere with him. Very important. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have another caller here.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
sir.
Good morning.
Your name and where you calling from?
This is who? What is your name?
Chiwido.
Sheon Idowu from Iwoyeke to go ahead.
I was once a member of the CDC something at Abeokuta. During the Abulure regime.
All right, please go ahead with your question.
Officers at secondary schools like community, Iwoye, Nazareth High School, Nebo, Ilana, and so they have been cancelled. Why? It is because the community they have this. If you continue to do that one, according to the last the letter that coming to the school of the children, when the officers are on the gate, the children will run fast to enter their classrooms and roaming about in the bush and the forest. So that is for let them install these officers in these secondary schools.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you very much.
Mr. Shemido from Iwoyiki.
Thank you very much. When we talk about restoration of officers to schools, like I said it earlier, we have a program whereby those security people employed in various schools want to give them security education. By the time we are giving them security education, they will know the first line of action to respond to incidences, to control the schools, and even to do more. So that program should be allowed to go on so that when we have educated them, we are giving them a kind of a
Securities in primary and secondary schools. Now let's look at the university. The polytechnics are higher institutions of learning. We have some undergraduates who live in school premises and some who live outside the school premises. What are the security measures required of them?
Thank you very much. When we talk about the tertiary institutions, like most of them, they believe that they are adults, and so to say, they enjoy some, atmosphere of freedom. But however, there are certain things that they need to know. Or take, for example, the way you live your life, the way you appear, even time of appearing to make sure that we pass on security education to all nooks and crannies of Ogun State at various levels. The students, primary, secondary, tertiary institutions, the parents, the communities, and other identified stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're still looking at rising cases of kidnapping and the need to beef up security in our schools. The numbers are still 0803 437 9453 and 0815 032 0226. Adeoye Ajayi, HOD Training, NSCDC, Ogun State Command. We've been talking extensively about rising cases of kidnapping and the need to beef up security in our schools. Now let's look at schools where there are no fences, where there are no gates. What are these students exposed to? And in building schools, in situating schools, does location matters when building school, when erecting a school in our environment? Does it matter?
Thank you very much. Or if you talk about schools without perimeter fencing, the essence of perimeter fencing is to demarcate. And once these schools are not demarcated, that the opportunity has presented himself for anybody to come into the school and carry out all forms of activities. But we are imploring that schools, either public or private school, they should have a perimeter fencing. And at the same time, a gate that controls who goes in, who comes out. You will see that in those days, back in those days, where schools are located, they are far from communities.
Mm.
The schools we attended, but communities will come in, build up onto school. But at the same time, we need to watch out. There are some schools, which I don't want to mention name, located around motor park, garages, even very close to the market. And you will see that when we are talking about education, these students, they learn fast from what they can see than what we are teaching them in the classroom. So when they see such, you have external influences. Some of them, lo and behold, they can get into those parks and garages, encounter those people that are, abusing substances, and before you know it, they tend to go into such vice. So we are advocating that where schools are located, we should ensure owners of school, government should ensure that there is a control about where schools are located. Thank you.
Now, in a situation where school authorities are suspecting any strange movements in and around the school, what should be the first thing they should do?
Take for instance, we have some schools who regard themselves as school one, school two, and you have some miscreants in that school. Maybe they leave the school environment to go to another portion and start drinking so many things, doing so many unthinkable things. What do you think the school should do if they notice this kind of thing?
Thank you very much. And that is why I said it earlier that registration of schools is very, very important. We have a national portal at our national headquarters where schools should be registered. When they notice such, they can easily contact us. There is a kind of a way whereby we have provided a two-way communication between us and them. By the time they get such information, we are assuring them that quick response will come, and we have been doing it in the past. Where schools will call inter-house sport, they are doing their final passing out ceremonies, and you see some miscreants getting themselves into schools. We have been doing the cleaning up, apprehending such students, and we give them security education advices. And even some of them now that we have documented, that we have made them to come to our places, they are doing well in higher institutions now. Thank you.
We have some parents who customize the school bags, school cardigans for their children, especially the underage ones, the ones in nursery and primaries. What's your advice as regards this? Then another thing, parents who indulge in the habit of entrusting their words into the hands of the Okada riders to take them to school. What is your advice as regards this?
Thank you.
Taking into cognizance the rate of kidnapping in our society. So
Thank
many
you.
people are falling victims.
Thank you very much. Like in the case of customizing bags, cardigans, or whatever for the pupils or students, we have the opinion that such should stop. Because a small child, let's say for example, his name is Kule, a stranger doesn't know the name, but you see the name on that bag, and truly is Kule, you now call him Kule, the child will be enthusiastic in knowing more about you, and such child can be attracted and be kidnapped. We are advising that parents don't expose these kids unnecessarily. Then for those people that entrust their kids, on Okada, riders taking them to and fro from school, we are advising, if you are going to engage anybody, make sure that such a person is a well-known person. Not just a well-known person, check his background. It's not just somebody that rented a room and is living around the environment. You can leave that room and run away at any time. But preferably, though we are not encouraging such, should be introduced via reputable and responsible. And at the same time, you as a parent also, you must be extremely vigilant and also have security education. Thank you.
What about those who live affluent lives, the rich in the society, who use their, wealth to oppress, to let people know that okay, they are doing well. This can attract kidnapping and kidnappers asking for ransom from them. A word of advice.
Hello, to the public, we are advising living a life of affluence nowadays is not too advisable. Even back in those days, you have people that are money bags, but you not see it on them visibly. Because like you are doing such, it may be for attraction for hatred, attraction for financial gain, even attraction for so many other things. So we are encouraging people, number one, our women, if you are driving out, don't display things that can attract people. Then also, we are also encouraging and advising people, don't display where you work. You call something banneret in front of your vehicles. You will discover this person, no, is a military man. This one is this. Gone are those days, because the environment is no longer safe. Hide your identity. If you are asked to produce your identity, maybe at a security checkpoint, be very, very sure that you are encountering genuine security people. Don't be too sharp in revealing your identity to people. And at the same time, don't be somebody that goes out at night. Make sure that you control your movement. And at the same time, we also are admonishing, don't follow the same route in and out every day that people will predict your movement. Then change your time of appearances, even at the various routes that you take. Thank you.
And for people that apply the public transport, how do you advise them?
Well, for the people that apply the public transport, we advise you, go and join your vehicles at designated parks. Very, very important. Peradventure, you are not doing that. And even for those of us that are vehicle owners, stop picking passengers on the road. You don't know the person that you are picking. Pick people that you are familiar with, and you can be responsible for whatever their conduct or reactions are. Thank you very much.
What about the taxi drivers being used as kidnappers? No, your general advice to our people on the need to be security conscious. There are some taxis in Abeokuta as we speak who engage in kidnapping, most especially along Idiaba axis. What's your advice?
What my own advice is this: the public should be wary. Like all these painted taxis, we're advising that they should be numbered, so that peradventure anything happens, you can quote the number plate and the registration. But for all these unpainted vehicles being used for commercial purposes, we are advising that there should be a clap down on them. Then at the same time, if you are stopping the vehicle, be wary of who the passengers are. If the passengers are mostly male and somebody is now coming down, shifting for you to come in, and another person comes in, please be wary of this. God's protection will be on every one of us.
Okay, security is everybody's business. Play your role and let me play my own role as well. It's been so amazing having our guest journalists in the studios this morning. Deputy Commandant Amos Adiliajayi is the HOD training NSTDC Ogun State Command. We thank you sincerely for coming to our
It's my
studios
pleasure.
today. And also Ali Kende Babala DCA Babalola Ali Kende Babalola DCA. Thank you so much for coming again. And to the production crew, as editor we had Semitopala Beche. Bazit Awisu has been in charge of ICT, and the studio manager has been Abiodun Tijani. And this is a production of Yemisi Shodipo, ably assisted by Ayomide Fabi. My name is Titilope Awobajo. Let's all be security conscious. May God bless you.
My name is Emmanuel Adebanjo. Do enjoy the rest of the day.